Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. Your hosts, of course, Sturch and Gooch, are back on a Thursday. I'm quite thirsty. We got our waters. We're good to go for now. And I don't know. You brought like 3 in. So you said you actually offered us waters and then you didn't bring yourself one? Come on now. Amateur move. And of course, Dina has risen from the dead. She got herself a little bit of a shot ski today. Yep, I did it. I said it. Ski at the end of the shot. Hope you're feeling all right. And of course, intern Anthony in the house. His new day, Wednesday and Thursday, he'll be with us here. So lots to get into, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of breaking news. You can bring up Danny's real quick because that is the latest news. We'll get into all that. Dan Quinn staying with the Cowboys. We'll get into all the moving parts because there are multiple things happening all at once. Things broke early this morning. Things just broke about 10 minutes ago. But first and foremost, I got to plug the network away. If you are listening on podcast form and you want to check out more podcasts, a brand new podcast has dropped. It's called the Chop Sports Combat Sports. Chop Heads Combat Sports Podcast. That's with Chris, the Reverend Tommy D, the suspended Tommy D from Facebook. And of course, me, Dave Sturchio, is on that one as well. I don't know who's saying hope so. Rick is coming in. That is confirmed. Tom Pelissero is confirming that Dan Quinn has informed the Dallas Cowboys that he will be staying on as defensive coordinator. So he ain't going nowhere. So that's official. And then what did I say? All right. So Chop Heads MMA podcast that dropped this morning. We kind of put a bow on UFC 270. And of course, we dove into this weekend's, which, by the way, if it's going to snow, what better way to spend in the snow than sit home, drink some adult beverages if you're over the age of 21, and watch the WWE Royal Rumble on Saturday night, which, by the way, it took me yesterday to realize it was on Saturday night, not Sunday. They're not competing with championship weekend. Vince McMahon is no schmuck after all. So that episode is available now. I got text from Evan at 4:30 in the morning, our boy Evan, saying that it stunk and that I'm no good at what I do and I have all this misinformation. It's just because he's jelly and he wants to be on the mic. So, Evan, the open invite is there, pal. Come on down to the studio and talk wrestling with your boy. And, of course, otherwise, you have to go check out Till Mets Do Us Part. They dropped a brand new episode as well. So they had a guest. I forget his name already. I promoted it 17 times on social media, and I forget it. But, anyway, they have another guy. It's a New York One reporter that they brought on to talk all things Mets. They talked about the Hall of Fame, which obviously – me and Gooch dove into yesterday about the snubbing of Juan Clemens and Bonds and everybody like that. But next year, by the way, Carlos Beltran has entered the chat. So he's going to be on the ballot along with a lot of other notable names that we all grew up watching, including Jason Worth, which I was excited to see him because I just like his flow, his beard, his hair. And I think for that alone,
Jason Worth is playing in like beer league softball games right now.
I love it.
See videos of him yoking bombs over the foul pole, over the lights.
I love it. So those are the 2 new podcasts. Be sure to check us out. I'm losing my words right now because there's so much shit going on. But check us out on LinkedIn or chopsportsmedia.com for the full podcast lineup. Anthony is cooking over on LinkedIn right now, getting all the promotion going together with all the podcasts and all that stuff. So
what up, Stimmy OG?
I'm
still having bouts of depression. It comes and goes.
It's like ebbs and flows.
There's definitely waves of zero worth on this planet because of the Packers loss. I live and die by that. But yeah, how you doing, bro? I'm hanging in there. I assume that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
shout out to Stimmy who didn't ask how I was doing, but that's cool. I know he's a Packer guy, right?
No, but
I think he kind of win all day is the Packer guy.
Yeah, this is his first appearance since the Packers L.
Oh, all right. Well, then he's doing fine, everybody. He's here in the flesh. Also, want to say a big shout out. I haven't done this yet. I should have did it yesterday. Steve Aspara. Okay, that's the guy who created our website, chopsportsmedia.com. So if you want to see what he can do, chopsportsmedia.com. He's built the entire thing from literally the ground up. He is for hire, ladies and gentlemen. He wanted us to let you guys know that he's affordable. He's local. He's accessible. He's also very blunt, and he'll tell you the truth, meaning if he thinks something looks stupid, he'll tell you. He's literally currently building Ashmere Fitz page,
that's what I was going to say. He's a very easy dude to work with. He'll be blunt, and that's good coming from a guy that knows what he's talking about, and you clearly don't because you're hiring him to do your website. So.
The only thing I won't take his advice about going forward is podcast host. That's it.
And I do actually have a thing to say to Steve right now because we were in the text conversation yesterday where he was he was trying to have me find him a specific throw made by Aaron Rodgers in their Super Bowl run. And I just don't know the throw that he's talking about. I think that he has his dates confused because in the Super Bowl run, there wasn't really the throw that he's describing. It had to have been a different playoff game. So, Steve, we'll talk about that later, but I didn't mean to leave you
We'll
on
get
the
into
ledge.
some Aaron Rodgers stuff in a little bit because Lord knows that we can't go an episode without talking about one of the GOATs. But I also want to give a special shout out to Absolute Eyewear, one of our signature sponsors and advertisers with this network. So Absolute Eyewear on Main Street in Woodbridge. Craig and Johnny Mashad, they're great people. If you need eyeglasses, all that stuff, sunglasses, I'm not Jimmy. I can't do the ladies and gentlemen. I can't do the live read that he does, but I do know that I can't see for shit. And we talked about this yesterday when we were talking about the desk and putting a desk in here. What up? The desk that we have are getting built right now. He's like, oh, we're gonna continue to read the comments. I was like, well, I can't see anything. You got them?
I have glasses, but there's only one arm.
Oh, but that's from Absolute Eyewear?
They are not.
Oh, then what are we doing here?
But
Looks like
now I can see. It's
but
crazy how much better I could see with this.
But you know what?
thing.
Now that your arm is broken, or that whatever you call
that
that
glare is rough. Janine, do we have anything in store that will take care of the glare? Like these lenses, I can't.
100% they do. They have it all. They have it all from Ralph Lauren. They have everything.
I'm gonna have.
They
to
got it all
by.
over there. Go check out Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey. So, and of course, Absolute. She said it. She's watching. She's literally in the comments right now. So, what's up, Janine? By the way, way to put yourself through the angst of watching that Knicks game last night, including Ozark at the same time. You were just seeing double murder. It's like you were seeing murders on Ozark and you were seeing the Knicks just
Everybody
suck.
be careful about what's going on in Ozark because some people have not seen any of the new episodes.
All right,
yet.
first of all, I'm
careful.
not leaking anything. I'm saying that there's murder.
Oh,
Is that a shocker or a breaking news there? I don't think so. In any event, we start with one of these stories that broke literally about a half hour ago. Officially, Big Ben Roethlisberger retires from the NFL. He had put a great tribute video up on Twitter off his Twitter account, and obviously Schefter and everybody else picked it up real quick, put it out there. Great. It's like 2 minutes long. Very nice, feel good stuff. You know, for as far as his legacy is concerned, I get it. Gooch don't like him.
I'm not going to take this moment to bash Big Ben. I'll let him have his day.
Yeah,
he should have apologized in his exit speech.
I
but
mean,
you know, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Can you imagine? I like to thank this person. I'd like to thank this person.
I'm going to let Ken Pullman have this moment.
No,
I'm not going to bash
moment.
this guy, even though I have something coming for him later on in the episode.
To me, I think that you know, the big three that came in together into the league were Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, and Eli Manning, right? And to me, I think despite the fact that his physical intangibles kind of declined in the last couple of years, durability is everything. And he put the Steelers in a position to win games the longest. Rivers is out. Eli's out. Roethlisberger lasted the longest. I think he's the best one to come out of that class just because he lasted longest. And I'm sure the numbers hold up too, but I'm saying like
the playoff success was there early
Super
in the
Bowl
career,
champions,
so he got that out of the way. And yeah, I would say that he had a better career than Eli without question.
And Rivers.
And Rivers has never gotten over that hump. So yeah, I would agree with you 100%.
Out of that class, Big Ben is the guy.
And for all the bad things I have to say about Big Ben, I will say this: outside of Antonio Brown and possibly Le'Veon Bell at certain points, which they've proven how bad of teammates they actually are, all of Big Ben's teammates go to bat for him throughout his entire career. So you know, I will tip my hat in that regard. He is a good teammate. Might not be the best person, but who am I to say?
Exactly. I mean, look, I'm not going to touch on all that, but I will say this. A lot of people make a lot of shitty decisions when they're younger, and I think a lot of people can redeem themselves over time.
Fair point.
The way that he did it and the way he handled it and those pictures and the action shots of him hugging all of his family and walking off into the sunset with his family, it doesn't get any better than that. And that's why I love sports. You know what I mean? Like those moments, I don't really care. Everybody, even Michael Jordan, the best of the best, Tiger Woods, the best of the best have done stupid shit.
What's it called when you want to do something but you don't?
When you want to do something but you don't.
Yeah, like you practice what? What am I practicing right now?
What you preach?
Restraint. I'm looking for that where I'm practicing restraint right now because there's so many openings for me to bash.
Sure can,
but I refuse to do it right now.
Let's do it in 5 years.
To my word. I will
not
bash Big Ben today.
First ballot Hall of Fame.
Congrats to Big Ben. 100% first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yes. I mean,
unless the baseball voters have anything to do with it, which in that case, I'm pretty sure they would vote him in because off the field issues in certain regards do not matter in baseball.
It's okay, Ken. Ken coming in saying I'll probably not be able to comment later. Shit, thank you, Dave. Agreed. So I guess whatever my
No, I said I have something coming for him later in the show.
Oh, he might have to dip out. That's okay.
It's just a little.
Well, you know what the best part is, Ken? This is an on-demand show. So as soon as the show is over, you can revisit this show and check back to what Chris went in on later
cliffhanger.
on.
And I'd like to know that our listeners, and Ken is one of the guys that reached out and said how upset he was that he wasn't able to watch one of the shows that we had because it was very Steeler heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I promised him if the Steelers upset the Chiefs that I would let him come on. Ken, the invitation is still there. If you ever want to call in,
oh, of course,
you could call in.
Listen, we have the ability here to bring on anybody. And last night I put that on Twitter. I said, look, I think it's time we really start hammering home interviews and guests and all that stuff. So if you become a prominent, we had Jack in here, right? We brought Jack in to talk Ravens. So we're not against it. We're not above that.
I also want to revisit that whole handicapping situation that we talked about.
What do you mean?
It was with Ash's friends. We never really got any deeper into the conversation, but there's two people that reached out to me and they want to get on the podcast somehow or another. They don't really have experience, but they are heavy gamblers and they talk shit to each other and they're good friends. So
are they better than the sauce? Because there's going to be a battle.
We could maybe find out and we'll set something up. If not with those guys, maybe we could do it with some other people that are listening.
Chop Sports betting league where it's like wins and losses. Like I get it, you're putting out your stuff, but like let's track it and have
almost are like everybody has a slate of games that they have to bet and you go up against somebody that day. I'm not opposed to that.
Pretty cool, huh?
You know, I'm not opposed to that.
Idea.
Either a roto betting league or just a head-to-head betting.
Yeah, look, people always want to say, I'm better than the sauce. Well, go ahead,
I know that you made a comment to Kyle in the chat the other day about doing fantasy leagues in 5th grade, bro. I've been doing fantasy leagues since I was born.
No, I know,
and I've created them. I'm innovative. Totally. I'm way ahead of the game. Right. I did PPR and all that shit way before they were even doing it online.
You don't get to be on a team, Toast.
I would say that Toast is there's no teams here. It's funny because it sounds like your basic pick 'em pool, right? It does. I mean, like when like offices do, they're like, here's your sheet of the games. Let's see who gets the most right. This will be a little different, I think. I think that this has some legs.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Toast and the Sauce enter this, there's a lot on the line. They're putting their credibility out there.
That is true.
So maybe you could topple the Toast or I don't know, dunk the Sauce.
Facebook user, for the love of God, go click on the link. The link is definitely within the description of this post. Go click on that and then redo this.
This guy's just talking shit, so maybe we should be careful about
which. Your brother.
It's not.
No, he would have watched on YouTube. It might be Evan. Maybe he's clueless.
It might be Evan
as to how to get.
It's a little early for Evan.
Well, I mean, I told you, he texted me at 4:30 in the morning, and I was up because why not?
See, we got Glow who wants to smoke already.
Bring it. Let's go. Let's do
basketball.
Hey, listen, I think it'll be a good idea. I think it'll be competitive and no money involved. Well, maybe money involved. Maybe entry fee to get into it.
Be some money involved. Yeah,
I'm saying this could turn out to be like.
Hey, we got 100 gamblers that want to join our league, but guys, guess what? There's no money involved. It's like, okay, then they're all out.
It's Bobby, our pitcher from Chop Sports softball team. Bobby's coming in saying he's announcing himself there. But Bobby, do me a favor, as a contributing member to society here, go over to YouTube and hit like.
And then when you're done doing that, go fuck yourself, Bobby. Shout out to Bobby. Congrats. Fair play to you. Honestly, this is a situation where the Packers didn't get robbed by the refs, and it was fair play. I've said that. My brother's a 49er fan. It is what it is.
It's February in a week, which means softball is right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's been videos surfacing right now that Jimmy Palumbo is getting back in shape, and I believe he was picking out a first baseman's mitt. So maybe he's trying to get out of the field because he can't move anymore.
Well, he definitely can't stretch.
He definitely
ain't coming off the bag.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I mean, we have our jerseys and everything. Yeah, I think I got to get on the horn with Liz. She was good at that, at putting all that together and diving out of here on a Wednesday or Thursday to go play some softball. I want to do that.
I'm gonna have to put a heavy ban on the softball talk sometimes, right? Last year, that was like mine and your thing where I would be like, Dave, we can't talk about our own softball team. Nobody gives a shit about that.
Oh, a lot of these guys will probably
unless I go 4 for 4 or something like that.
Yeah, unless Gooch scores from first on a routine single. Who gives a shit?
Unless I have a put out at home to win the game or anything,
Oh boy. All right. Well, Big Ben, congratulations on a fine career, Hall of Fame career. But there's a lot of stuff going on yesterday and today. First, we'll start off. You know what? I don't know if I put it in the right order. Actually, yeah, I did. So let's start with the Giants, because the Giants coaching search is still on right now. And their GM took to the stage yesterday. And what is his name again?
Joe Shane.
Joe Shane is the Giants GM. He took to the stage. He did the press conference. I want to say like he's used to New York media, but Buffalo is not New York media. You know what I mean? Buffalo is in its own world. It's basically Toronto at this point.
It is not New York media.
It's not New York
Canadian media.
So, right. So he comes on yesterday and he says, look, it's not going to be an easy fix. You know, you can also be successful on the field while rebuilding. I don't necessarily buy that in the NFL. It's hard to go into an absolute rebuild, an absolute eyewear rebuild, have you? And that's shout out to Janine because she's got to deal with this shit all year. But there's been candidates that are now flying off the shelves. So before we get into that, I do want to bring up the fact that their owner, John Mara, came out and said that we, as the Giants, quoting, we did everything in our power to screw up Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones obviously hasn't played up to, I don't even know if you can call it potential, because who really knows at this point what the potential is for Daniel Jones? But I ask you, Gooch, what say you? New coach coming in. Do you think it has to be, no matter what, offensive-minded to get Jones in the right direction?
Absolutely not.
Because Dayball is the guy.
I think I've always said this, and I've said this on the podcast before. I think who they hire as their quarterback's coach and who they hire as their offensive coordinator is equally as important, more so important if they hire a defensive guy. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Giants' defense needs some fixing as well. And if the Giants have a good defensive coach and their defense reaps the benefits of having a good defensive coach, then, you know, it takes some of the pressure off of that coach and you allow your offensive coordinator to kind of run that side of the ball completely. And that could be beneficial in some cases. Look at the history of the game. It's not like a defensive coordinator has never taken a head coaching job and had a good quarterback playing for him and it worked out. Totally. So it's not necessarily a,
I'm just glad to see that, just like this graphic says, they took some ownership and knowing that Daniel Jones has not been the guy.
In some ways, I feel like it can help an offense because I think that a head coach has a lot of responsibilities. And when you have to worry about implementing an offense and making the calls and things like that, it puts a lot of responsibility. And when I say responsibility, obviously it's always coming down to the head coach. You're responsible for everything. But just in terms of being busy and having time to do these things and oversee other things, I think it's beneficial when you need to build a guy like Daniel Jones. And I agree 100% with Mara. It's a step in the right direction for him. Actions speak louder. So do the right thing going forward and you could fix a lot of this. It's not like they haven't had success. The Maras have been respected throughout the course of the league's history.
And Tish, don't forget about Tish.
All right. But we all know that that's
nice guy.
Let's not get into the Tish situation.
He was in Entourage, so the movie.
But yeah, it's a step in the right direction. It's good to see the Giants ownership take some ownership of what's been going on. I mean, it kind of puts Joe Judge in a shitty situation, Ben McAdoo in a shitty situation, because those guys, I think Ben McAdoo actually did just get hired by somebody.
He's the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers now.
Yeah. Well, they're never going to get head coaching jobs ever again. Joe Judge, I think he's going to be hard-pressed to find a job anywhere but New Orleans.
Would you take Joe Judge over in Green Bay since your special teams guy's probably on his way out?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, that makes sense. Speaking of Green Bay, a little bit of a loss here, and that's the Green Bay Packers losing Nate Hackett as their offensive coordinator as Hackett heads to Denver. It's a hire. It's a done deal, right? Okay, so that's cool, everybody. Now, Gooch, I'm just going to ask you, just randomly, what do you think the first thing anybody put out there in the world of sports media?
Since I knew you were going to ask me this, if you take a look at the graphic, I did know you were going to ask me this. And, you know, obviously, you know my thoughts on this. It makes sense for people to get behind this idea. But if anybody watched the interview that I know you watched,
yes, I both watched it. We were
with Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers. It does not sound like a guy that's going to play anywhere but Green Bay. So there's a chance that he retires. I will admit that. I think that's not very likely. He's not going to make a decision in case he comes to terms with the fact that he's willing to end his playing career. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of money on the table to play football for a couple more years. I understand there's other ventures he could take on to make some money, but NFL quarterback money and the chance that he's going to be able to restructure and actually get more money at the back end of a deal, I think that's more likely. I think the more likely scenario that you're going to hear with Aaron Rodgers in the coming weeks is going to be that he sits down before free agency and he frees up a lot of money for Green Bay to do what they got to do to sign Adams. And honestly, if you look at the history of quarterbacks in his situation, you have to do that. The Bradys, the Brees, the Mannings, you know, both of them.
Yeah.
So is Aaron Rodgers leaving? Absolutely not.
My chance of just pouring cold water all over the Rodgers thing. So you're telling me Rodgers right now, which he could still sling it. He's still great at what he does, right? You're telling me that Rodgers would go from playing the Lions, Bears, and Vikings every year to playing in the AFC West? Are you high? Like, I know Denver is high altitude, but you got to talk about a schedule of murderer's row to go play
I think
against.
when you look at the Packers division, obviously we're going to get into the GMs and the head coaching in a little bit with those guys. But yeah, like the situation in Green Bay, I mean, he's coming off back-to-back MVPs.
Well, Scoop just said that. Sorry. Like, I didn't even
deep into the playoffs, except for this year. But I mean, deep enough. They did get a bye. One and done does suck. But you understand the point. And this is where I was leaving this little tidbit for Ken Palman. We see yesterday all this speculation about where's Aaron Rodgers going to go next, which it's just speculation, and it's dumb speculation at that, because
Pro Football Focus wasn't even like the announcement of Hackett wasn't even done yet, and they photoshopped him in a Denver uniform.
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
It's egregious. And then you start to see things like
Hacks.
A Steelers fan or where is he going to go? And then you list the options and teams that are out in the market for a quarterback. And then you got my buddy Ken Palman comes in and says, "Oh, I'll pass. I'll pass on Aaron Rodgers." And his excuse was, or his reason was, I've lost enough in the playoffs. I want a winner. And it's like, well, okay, let's look let's look at the other guys out there that you could potentially have as veterans coming in. We could say a Russ, maybe a Russell Wilson. I'll give you that. I'm sure Ken Palman will sign up for a Russell Wilson in a heartbeat. That's not going to happen. Seattle, you're going to have to, put a bullet in John Schneider's head if you want to get Russell Wilson off that team. It's just not going to happen.
Correct.
I know that was dark, but you're going to get Kirk Cousins. You want Derek Carr.
You like that? You like that?
These are the options. And then you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and you're going to say, I'll pass on. Well, if you pass on Aaron Rodgers, you're likely going to have to spend $40 million on a guy like Cousins, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, he's not getting that at all. Staying within the coaching realm here. Do we want to go to the coach? Yeah, I guess so. So we went into I don't know who's definitely enjoying this, but please go over to YouTube. It's a clickable link. If you're watching this right now, please definitely hit the like button on the video itself and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to all sorts of goals. So help us out, help Chop Sports grow.
We do not have Ash gatekeeping the comments today, even though she is here. So there's nobody threatening you to go like,
yeah, so just don't do that. You don't want to get threatened by Ashley. She'll kill you. And that was dark too. But now Quinn is on this graphic, but what we've heard now is that Dan Quinn has informed the Dallas Cowboys he'll be back. And I guess that's on the heels of, now, here's my guess, right? Dan Quinn wouldn't have done that if he wasn't still in the running for the Giants job. So I'm thinking the Giants have their guy.
Well, I think
you know what I'm saying? Like the timing I'm talking about.
I think that Dable will be the head coach in New York.
Correct. And I think that,
the Buffalo
he's been rumored to go to friggin' Miami all of a sudden.
Yeah, but Dable might have an agent that's saying, you know what, we want to press the Giants a little bit and get our guy hired here. And
Dable doesn't want to leave Buffalo.
I think that Dan Quinn had his heart set on the Denver job, right? And then once they hired Hackett and passed on Dan Quinn, he's like, you know what? I think the situation here is just as good. He's getting paid handsomely to be the coordinator in Dallas, and he's got the fans behind him. So why not just ride it out one more year and see what you could do? I think. Well,
that and the Bears also just hired Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator from the Colts. So, and the Colts had themselves a decent defense this year when they have guys, role players like they had, and the season they had. He's been rumored to be a head coaching candidate for like 3 years now.
Yeah, So
he's a good dude. A good hire.
We'll see. I'm gonna reserve.
You're not threatened by. You're not threatened by.
I'm not gonna reserve I'll reserve my judgment on it. But typically, I don't have confidence in what the Bears front office has been doing. And I will say this:
seems like a
very interesting story about the Bears' new GM. What's his name? It's Ryan Bowles.
Okay,
Ryan.
He was an undrafted guard,
guard
or tackle,
signed to the Bears in like 2008. Undrafted, so he was an undrafted player.
He was a player
for the Bears.
Right.
And then he all the way full circle. And now he's the guy that's looking at the undrafted players. I think that's a cool story.
It is a cool story. So maybe the tides are changing in Chicago. You got yourself.
Let's relax.
You got Justin Fields.
You still have a bad everything.
You still.
Their defense is all right.
This anti-Packer shit has got to stop. Or his anti-NFC North stuff's got to stop. But again, we bring that up because that's why Rodgers isn't going anywhere. But in this regard, so the coaching search, as far as that goes,
the Bears are done.
The Bears are done. The teams that still need coaches, the Houston Texans, who for whatever reason are interviewing a lot of former players. I don't really know the thought process behind that.
Yeah, the Texans are still a joke. Apparently, it's been like Josh McCown, Hines Ward. There's a couple guys that they actually, had some credibility, but I don't think that they really. I think the Texans are fully aware that nobody with any head coaching credibility or head coaching acumen in the NFL with experience really wants to take that job. It's a shithole, for lack of a better word. Nobody wants to go there.
Thanks.
David Culley, what you saw with David Culley
First
this
of all,
year.
it's Madden generic coach number 3.
Exactly, right? So you saw what they did to him, and it's like, who wants to go there and be the scapegoat for another bad year? Even though they did play well towards the end of the season, well for them, I should say, considering their roster was decimated every week with a new trade. I just think their only chance at making a splash is to probably hire one of these former players that people might be interested in. I don't know, man.
Is that like a youth movement? Texans, like they can relate to the players, and
that's a players coach. That's a really bad job.
I don't
Nobody
know,
wants that job unless you have, you want to get your foot.
They should listen, and this goes back to being that they're still looking, right? And I'm not going to fault them for still narrowing the process down, right? But the fact that they're still looking leads me to believe that you should have never fired Culley. You should have look if you knew this place was going to suck,
100%.
And nobody wants to go there. Culley was there. He was there for you. And he got these guys playing. He got Davis Mills playing to his neck, up to his neck in potential.
They offered the manager at Whataburger, and he declined their offers. So, see, nobody wants that job.
Oh, man. That would have been a great job. Oh, by the way, that was so funny. What did I watch? Aziz Ansari has a new special on Netflix. I watched it last night.
Funny.
Dying. I was dying. But he made a Chipotle reference. That's why the Whataburger thing came on.
All right. So we got new coaches, right? Or new other places.
El Ma's coming in that much, but that's got to be my friend Lawrence coming in. Definitely enjoying this for the afternoon. Well, it's 11:30, Lauren, so it's not even the afternoon yet. Don't rush the day.
Speaking of head coaches, Vic Fangio just got interviewed by the Jaguars.
For what? Oh, that'd be the DC, I guess, because. Oh, wait, no, they're still looking for a head coach. Shit. Okay. Yeah. Wow, the Jaguars are still on the list. I didn't even write them down. I guess they're that irrelevant, Scoop.
So we have, I'm going to go list the teams that are looking for a head coach still.
We said the Texans, we said the Jaguars.
Bears got their guy. Giants are still in need. We talked about that. The Vikings, let's only talk about teams that are hired their GM. So there's a couple teams that don't even have a GM in place, like the Raiders.
By the way, if you hire your head coach before the GM, you've already screwed it all up.
So like we really can't even have the conversation about the Raiders because you haven't heard many people besides Harbaugh tied to them. And until they hire their GM, there's really no point in speculating on who their head coach will be. Okay. Dolphins kept their GM. There's, like we said, there's links to Brian Dable, but I feel like that's going to be the Giants' job. Or he's going to get the Giants job. So I'm kind of up in the air on what's going to happen with Miami at this point. Maybe a Leftwich, maybe a Raheem Morris, maybe something like
Miami to Leftwich to Miami.
I don't know.
It just makes too much sense for Leftwich to get hired by the Jaguars.
I'm just thinking out loud here. Looking at the Jags, we just saw that they interviewed Vic Fangio. I think that's a terrible idea on both parts. I just don't think that will work out.
You think he's one of those Wade Phillips type guys, like better coordinator than head coach? You think he should just go DC somewhere and just kind of call it a day?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, that seems like the plan.
Yeah, but we haven't mentioned, and we were planning on talking about Zimmer, but now that Quinn is staying in Dallas,
I did write down. I said
rumor, or maybe it wasn't a rumor.
It wasn't really a rumor.
It was like something that you could see happening if Quinn left, that Dallas would hire Mike Zimmer. There's some definitely really good defensive coordinator candidates out there right now, including a Vic Fangio, a guy, so if these guys don't get head coaching jobs, it's legitimate.
I think Mike Zimmer's living his best life right now. So, he can just kind of do whatever he wants, with his 25-year-old wife.
Yeah.
So he can do whatever he wants at this point.
So the Vikings are the team right now that I think you're going to hear about next. Like there hasn't been much.
Have they put down interviews?
They hired their GM. So now that they hired their GM, there's some speculation about certain guys. I don't really have an idea. There's no pulse really on who the favorite is. Obviously, Minnesota beat writers are speculating, but nobody knows because we were down to 2 candidates for the Bears. I literally almost made the graphic Bears down to 2 candidates, and it was going to be Jim Caldwell and Dan Quinn. And they ended up hiring Eberflus, who wasn't even on my radar. So nobody actually knows. But the Vikings hired Kwesi Adolfo Mesa, and he's a Wall Street guy, so I'm not sure what he knows about football, but
he knows money.
Sometimes this stuff kind of works out.
Obviously, he might be a super fan.
Obviously, he's a football guy.
Just like Uncle Steve over in New York with the Mets.
Obviously, he's
super fan with a lot of money.
But making my my predictions and why you haven't really heard much, I think that the Vikings are kind of waiting on to see what happens with the Rams, and I think that you might see both of their coordinators get interviewed for that job. It's Raheem Morris on defense, and I think
he might get a job. You're right.
Kevin O'Connell, who I think is probably one of the hotter candidates that nobody really hears about.
Kevin O'Connell,
the OC for the Rams right now. So basically,
anybody
that Sean McVay ever sniffs at or looks at is considered a top coaching candidate.
Bold one here. Harbaugh and Vic Fangio team up again and go to the Raiders. Not a bad play,
cool
bro.
with
I
that.
would love, look, I'm a Jim Harbaugh guy. I've liked him in his playing career. I've liked him as a coach. He needs to be back in the NFL.
I agree.
Where he goes is another story.
He's an NFL guy, 100%. I think Michigan's being held back by
he's got
Harbaugh.
Michigan by the balls,
as weird
though.
As that sounds. And but I also don't think that there's really legs to him going to the NFL just yet. I saw an article that poured a lot of cold water on that. So believe who you want on that, but until I hear Harbaugh actually insert his name into some of these searches and get interviewed, then I'm not going to buy it.
Any credibility to the Facebook user coming in? Might be Bobby still. The Texans immediately make that job attractive if they make it work with Watson. So that job becomes like, oh, I got Deshaun Watson as my quarterback, then yeah, maybe I'll go there. You know what I mean? Like right now you have Davis Mills and nobody to throw to outside of Cooks. And you know what I mean? Like a running situation where it's been shit since maybe Jump Street. I don't know if the Texans ever had a running back. Arian Foster, maybe. As far as like a lead back that was like good.
Well, he was, 1 year.
He was good, but really
good.
it with them. So I don't know how attractive it is to go to Houston, even if the Deshaun Watson stuff, which by the way, you've heard nothing about it. That is going to be so washed and done with before this season, like this new.
Oh no, that's going to surface again. Don't make no mistake about it.
Why would it not throughout the course of the year? Is what I'm saying.
Because
that's so annoying.
Well, once the trade, it was a topic of conversation until the trade deadline passed, and then there's really no point in talking about it because they're not going to cut him.
It is a legal action with one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Understanding the point though is they're not going to cut him, and he can't be traded. Once the NFL offseason ramps up and the draft is approaching, you will 100% see Deshaun Watson rumors. There's no question about that. And every single thing that Brian Flores is attached to has Deshaun Watson's name on it. I can't tell if that's a good or a bad thing. I think that's going to prevent him from being even considered for the Giants job because he said, I don't know if this is true, but there's articles and there's rumors going around that wherever Brian Flores goes, he wants the team to try and trade for Deshaun Watson. And that could be the reason why he's on the outs as well as many other reasons in Miami.
That could be very true.
But I don't know that any organization is really looking to take on the controversial coach because at this point, let's call it what it is. You know, he's been littered with controversy the past couple weeks. So bringing him in is automatically going to come with some negative press and all the questions out of the gate about
and if
what happened in Miami. And obviously he's not going to want to talk about it.
If you're an NFL franchise looking for a new head coach, the last thing you want is a bad rap.
That's why I say the best place for these guys to go, like all the failed coaches, is back to New England because everything is under wraps there anyway. And Bill just falls on the sword for you with his normal approach.
Robert Kraft's probably like, look, I love Mac Jones, but
Patriot way.
Me and Deshaun, we use the same masseuse. You know what I'm saying? But in any event, so that's the coaching stuff. But there was something that was brought up, and I don't know why this was even brought up. It was brought up in Chop Sports. I saw it in the Chop Sports Facebook group, but there was like, sometimes I feel like when guys leave the NFL, your job, no matter what position, if you weren't like middle of the pack to maybe lower than that, and you left the game, you feel like there's a certain, I don't know, what do I call it? Like you want to stay relevant within the media, right? We saw it with the Giants punter, Steve Weatherford, who turned into a grape, or not even a grape, a raisin. He looks like shit, right? Another special teams guy from the Giants spoke up yesterday, and it sparked a lot of controversy. And I know you roll your eyes because I'm not rolling my eyes because you did it for me, basically, because Lawrence Tynes, former kicker for the New York Giants, brought up, we don't have a graphic for this, right? No, it's just talking.
No,
it's fine. Brought up the fact that he thinks Eli Manning, now correct me on this one, Eli Manning is just overall better or Hall of Fame worthy? What was the actual? He said
he has a better Hall of Fame case for the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame resume than
This is why not everybody should have a voice, because that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And why? What are you basing that on? What are you exactly basing on that he has a better resume? One more Super Bowl, which, yes, big, great, right? But I pulled up numbers.
2 playoff runs.
There is numbers here, folks. And all right, so Eli Manning is 8-4 in the playoffs. That means he plays 12 playoff games, 2 runs, 2 Super Bowls, right? Rodgers does not have that much of a sexy, appealing record. He's 11-10, but he won 11 of them. He's played 21 playoff games, meaning he's brought his team to better pastures, right? Rodgers is a 3-time MVP, about to be 4. Eli, none, okay? 4 Pro Bowls for Eli Manning, 9 for Aaron Rodgers.
10,
Eli's never
10 if you count this year.
Yeah, sure, right, 10. Eli has never led the league in passing. He's never lead.
How many times has Eli been an All-Pro?
0. Zero. So like the stats don't lie is what I always go to, right? I looked up those stats in particular. I know there's a
not
million
here
stats.
To bash Eli. I don't want to do it. I have nothing
You
against
don't have
Eli.
to. You don't have
but
to.
Come on, this is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And there was people out there saying like, oh, another idiot kicker. Listen to your brother, Eli. It's just an idiot kicker talking. And look,
there it is.
There's Giants fans coming in and being like, oh, idiot kicker. He had just as much to do with that those playoff runs as Eli did. And I'm like, yeah, case in point. Case in point.
Exactly.
It's all enough said.
I had to bring that up because it was just one of those things that just, rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't even like either one of those guys. I mean, I like Rodgers, but, Manning can miss me with Eli.
I'm not sure what Hawaii Mike stats that he's trying to pull in, either play devil's advocate or what. Like, you could
Rodgers 2-1 quarterback in playoff loss.
I'm sure that he has to be on the side of Rodgers in this one. I'm trying to see where he's going with this.
Right. He's just, Hawaii Mike. That's what he does.
No, he does play devil's advocate a lot, but I think these are pro Rodgers stats.
Okay. Well, in any event, Rodgers is better. So is Tony Romo. We got football this week, so that's a good thing, right? We've deflected for 4 days now of not talking championship football because obviously the wounds are still open on Gooch. He's got to get over the fact that his Packers are gone. I'm already far removed and getting excited about coaching and all this other stuff. So I'm far removed into the postseason. But there are 2 games to be played on Sunday afternoon and evening. And we're talking about the AFC and NFC Championship game. We start off with the AFC Championship game. Now, we will make our picks tomorrow with Kyle. All right. Kyle, Lean Friday's coming on in. So we will make our official picks tomorrow. But we got to dive into the games. You know what I mean? Like they're here and they're right here in front of us. We start with the AFC, the Bengals at the Chiefs. The biggest storyline for me is obviously all the hate that Patrick Mahomes' wife is getting for pouring champagne. I'm just kidding, obviously. But don't do that. You didn't win anything yet. But Joe Burrow. So Joe Burrow last week, we saw him play the Titans, right? The Titans. Now, if you look at the Titans on their offensive side of the ball, not just so much the fact that they sacked him 9 times, right? Like Mr. Rooney from friggin' Ferris Bueller, 9 times, right? You got it floored, beat up. The way you counter that is to have the better offense of the 2, right? And kind of weather the storm. Gooch, I don't see that this time around. The Chiefs are scoring at will. So if you sack him 5 times, this might be very tough sledding.
I've thought about how I'm going to approach today's episode with talking about these games.
All right.
And I don't want to give away my picks, but what I'm going to do, I think, here is because obviously I think Dave just gave away his.
Not necessarily because the number's crazy.
You could sway yourself.
Number 7.5.
That's a fair point. In terms of talking about who's going to win the game, we could do that, and then maybe we'll talk point spreads tomorrow.
Right.
More so in this one because I think the other one is a little closer. Right?
It is 3.
Yeah. So looking at the game and the matchups, I'm seeing that obviously the big issue for Cincinnati is going to be protecting Joe Burrow and obviously dealing with what they have to deal with Tyreek Hill, Kelsey, and Mahomes. Obviously, there's a lot to deal with on the defensive side of the ball for Cincinnati. Like they're going to have their hands full there. Now, the Chiefs blitz a lot. I don't know their blitz rate in terms of comparison to the rest of the league. That's probably a Kyle or an AJ thing. So maybe they could help out and chime in if they're here. But seeing that Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times last week, my guess is that Spagnuolo is going to dial it up this week, and he's going to be after the quarterback.
I wonder if he has to dial it up.
I mean, it makes sense to at least send some guys. The Titans didn't have to, but they also did blitz a lot as well. So it's like they weren't. You sack somebody 9 times, you're bringing people. There's no question about it. They didn't sack him 9 times with the front 4, right? So if I'm looking at that, I'm saying, okay, the Bengals ended up winning that game, but they won that game ever so slightly, and Tannehill had 3 picks. So there was a lot of reasons why you get sacked 9 times. You should probably get your ass beat. So the Chiefs, the Bengals are able to score points. In this one, they're going to have to score a lot more points to keep up. But I think the Chiefs defense is built around their blitz. If the Bengals could pick up the blitz and they could protect Burrow a little bit better than they did last week, there will most likely be big plays in the back end, because if you're bringing people, you got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins out there, and then Boyd
underneath in space.
So it's just going to be a matter of how Joe Burrow is able to get the ball out of his hands and how often he's able to do that. he's still young, so there is going to be that propensity for him to make that big error late in the game, which Kyle did point out to me in the chat yesterday that he threw a pick to Janoris Jenkins that hit him in the chest and he dropped it. If Jenkins makes that,
stinks. That's
if
why.
Jenkins makes that play, no, he's all right.
No, he sucks.
If Jenkins makes that play, then the Bengals don't advance and the Titans are there, and we're having a very different conversation right now. So there's a lot. It's
flip side of it.
Very good game. Flip side of it.
The Chiefs are rolling right now.
The Chiefs are rolling. They haven't lost a game since week 7 outside of the Bengals game. And I will point out that they were beating the piss out of them in the first half. The Chiefs kind of took their foot off the gas, and the Bengals, in true Bengals fashion, the way they've been all year,
that's what happened.
They fought hard. Joe Burrow, rallied the troops, and they came back and won the game. Joe Burrow did get banged up at the end of that one, though. And that was probably the signature win in Joe Burrow's career up to this point. Joe Burrow has gone out and said, NFL stadiums are nothing like playing in the SEC. So you would imagine that there's going to be a raucous crowd in Kansas City for a playoff game.
Cousin Vinny just came out Burrow literally came out and said that the SEC crowds were far louder than any NFL stadium.
That's literally what I was
broken
just
every
saying.
Record of that, like that's.
I think that Seattle might have broken their records, but yeah, I was literally just saying Cincinnati's quarterback talking shit about.
Got to be careful there, Joey B. You
got
to be careful.
I don't know. Look,
you got swag.
It wasn't this week though. It wasn't said. It was said previously about NFL stadiums in general. Maybe prior to the Chiefs game when he was asked that question, but I don't think that he was throwing shade. But look, Joe Burrow, Jackpot Joey. There's a billion nicknames for this guy already. It's hard for me to doubt him. And I said it right after the game ended on the Monday episode in week 16 when they played, or week 17 when they played. I said, I have a feeling that we're going to see this matchup. I thought it would be in the round earlier, but
here we are.
I think that we're blessed as fans to get what I think will be a preview of several AFC championships going forward.
Scoopaloop going crazy here. Threw $150 on the Chiefs Super Bowl at plus 140. So if they win, I'll be sad and happy. He doesn't like the Chiefs. The Chiefs are becoming, I'm not going to say unlikable, but man, Mahomes' family's got to just stop. Like, I can't tolerate them anymore. They're making this difficult to get behind this kid. But I will say this. I'm a big fan. I know you don't like him, but Travis Kelce, to me, just the way he runs routes. Well, do you know what he did on that last route, by the way?
Yeah. Bro,
well,
the whole fucking NFL Films thing where they had him mic'd up. It was amazing.
That was good. But the look, he shot a look to what the hell is
It's probably Joe.
Oh, yeah, Joe's here. That's right. What up, Joe? Anyway, he shot a look to the defender, and the defender was like, "Oh, the ball's not coming."
Did you actually hear the exchange between him, Tyreek Hill, and then him and Mahomes?
I gotta go watch
it. Impressive. So basically, Travis Kelce won them that game. The way this all went down was he told Tyreek Hill which route to run. He said, "Sit that down in the flat or whatever. It's going to be there," and he made his own audible. Pat Mahomes hit Tyreek Hill on the first play, 10 yards, whatever. Then, based on what he saw the defense doing on that play, he went to Mahomes and he said, "I'm probably not going to run the route that they call on this. I might hit the seam. I think the seam is going to be there." And then they line up, it's mic'd up. So you hear Mahomes say, "Kels, do it. Kels, do it." Right? And then 5 seconds later, Kelsey's getting tackled on the 30-yard line. They had 3 seconds to spare. They did it in 10 seconds. So impressive.
Do you think, honestly, and bold or not bold, Kelsey's one of the best tight ends to ever play the game?
I mean, that just because
I know you don't like
because I don't like his reality show doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the fact that
I don't
he's
remember
really
that
good
reality
at
show at all.
Catching Kels, bro.
Oh god.
Only who's too much of a
was his stupid brother in it?
No.
Okay, because his brother sucks. I hate his brother.
And you're talking. See, now I'm gonna pot calling the kettle black, Dave here, and Scoop mentioned it earlier. You're saying enough with the NFC North hate. Come on. And I looked at you like, bro, are you serious? You are the biggest hater of the Eagles, the football team. Yeah. So my point is, don't criticize me for hating on.
I'm not criticizing him. I think that, but here's the difference between me and
Scoop,
you is
chime in the comments.
No. The difference is Scoop can, but I'm saying the difference between me and you, right, is that you think no matter what, the Packers are going to run through that division and everybody stinks. I hate the teams that are in my division, but when they're good, I'll tell you they're good. You have a problem doing that.
I absolutely don't.
I think you do.
What team in my division was good?
I'm not
what team in my division's been good for that matter?
When the Bears are good,
Bears are good, I'm like, oh, the Bears, their defense. I'll acknowledge it. It just hasn't happened in our tenure here at Chop Sports. So
tenure, let's
pump the
brakes.
Been a
long time.
I keep it 100% consistent and real. Right now, the teams all suck. They just hired 2 new GMs, and the other one's the Lions. So clearly, the teams in the Packers division are in peril right now.
Okay, all right. That's fine. So anyway, we'll dive more into this game tomorrow with Kyle on Lean Fridays here at the Chop Sports Daily. But there is another game, and I know this one's the one that's going to pain Gooch to talk about just a little bit. But that is the 49ers and the Rams. This one's at SoFi Stadium. So for 2 years in a row, we almost might get what? In your 10 years, not 10 year. Oh. Did I say that on the podcast?
Yeah, I think that's a shot at you. This was like,
no way. Did I say that? I was sitting right here when I said I always thought I was sitting right here. I thought that tenure was 10 years. Like when Pepper's like, oh, I made tenure. I'm like, oh, wow, he's been there for 10 years. Like that's what I thought for a long time. Obviously, I was wrong, but I never said it on the podcast. And now I'm exposing my dumbass.
You may have said
no way.
I'm curious how he's coming up with this.
Son of a bitch. Anyway,
I didn't text him on the side and be like, hey, guess what Dave said the other day.
You're not gonna believe what he just said.
Maybe he was just saying that and had no idea, and you just exposed yourself.
I did. I probably did just expose myself there. So it's fine. It's fine. But I guess we'll talk about the Rams and the 49ers. Now, obviously, the 49ers coming off their win over Green Bay in Green Bay on the sheet of ice. And, of course, LA doing their thing in the NFC divisional round, taking care of business. I'm curious to see this. Stafford, Danny said, holy fuck, that's my brother. He's probably coming in saying, like, no way did he actually think this. Look, man, I know things, but then there's some things that I just don't know, and that's okay. And I'm different. I can admit this stuff, right? But Gooch over there, he thinks he knows a little bit about everything, but a little bit about nothing.
It's very hard when you're rarely wrong to admit you're wrong, right? And look, I'm just a very calculated person, so I don't speak. Oh, she just chimed in. Reminders to like the video.
Oh,
on cue. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much.
Listen to this shit.
Oh, fuck you.
This is disgusting.
Fuck you.
Sports, ladies and gentlemen, sports. Anyway, so NFC title game. The Stafford run is impressive. The monkey's off the back with him. He makes it here. So that's incredible in its own right. He's getting the job done. He beats the GOAT last week, right? He gets the job done 2 weeks ago. And now he's got himself an opponent in which if I'm the Rams, the weakness of the 49ers, which the Dallas Cowboys should have exposed, is their secondary and is the back guys, right? The guys that are covering the receivers. And now, unlike the last time they met, was Odell there?
No.
Yes.
No, the last time they met was week 18. So yeah.
Yeah, Odell was there, but I'm saying the previous time he wasn't.
He was not, but Robert Woods was. And look, if we watch that matchup, it was a primetime game in the first one. There wasn't the same team. The Rams just got completely obliterated. Mm-hmm. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't protect Stafford. And I think that was like when Stafford was at the height of dealing with his injuries. He had a lot of injuries that he kind of kept under wraps this year. Mm-hmm. And I obviously think that he kind of got healthy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he wasn't himself in that game. And Odell wouldn't have mattered, is what I was getting at.
Question about Jimmy GQ, right? He's been beating everybody up. He goes head to head with Dak, beats him. Head to head with Rodgers, beats him, right? All of a sudden now Jimmy G is the guy. Right. With Jimmy G's numbers, which clearly you don't salivate when you see the numbers that he's putting up in these first 2 weeks of the playoffs.
You could add him to your list too, Ken,
of
quarterbacks that you might have to take over Aaron Rodgers next year.
Yeah, right. So that was my question. Win or lose, 49ers, right? We'll pick the game tomorrow. But win or lose, is Jimmy G, based off this run, it is a run to the NFC title game. Is he safe next year with this team, or is it the Trey Lance show regardless?
I mean, it's hard for me to go back on what I've been saying about Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. I don't think Jimmy G is the answer anywhere, except maybe where he's doing well now, right?
Right.
It's hard for me to sit here and say, right now, Shanahan's not looking to have this big arm. It doesn't look like, at least the way he's been running his offense typically in his career.
Ground and pound.
I guess you could say
they still run toss. I don't know how many teams run toss.
Yeah, well, the 49ers are committed to the run.
Yeah.
They'll openly tell you before the game, our goal is to run the ball 40 times this game, and they'll do it. It's not like they're trying to. There's no smoke and mirrors there. They're telling you what we're going to do, and that's why I firmly believe it's all about execution in the league. And I know that momentum helps. I think there's more in-game momentum than in-season momentum and things like that, but. Yeah, the 49ers, if they go out there and they're able to control the clock and execute, they'll put themselves in a position to win the game late. And that's what I think the best case scenario is for them in this one. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to run away with it the way they did in midseason.
Mhm.
I think the Rams are a far better team than they were at that
I think
point.
so too.
You could add Von Miller to the mix that we're not talking about. I think Von Miller first game was against the Niners, and he wasn't really involved.
No,
much.
not acclimated yet. No.
So,
look, all signs are pointing
the
to
Rams are a better team now than
Yeah.
they were then, and they closed the gap significantly in Week 18. They had the game in their hands the entire time.
We say this now, right? We say like the Rams on paper are the better team. Well, guess what? The Packers were the better team, and I think the Cowboys, pound for pound, were the better team on paper. They've proven a lot of people wrong so far. So I'm kind of curious to know if this momentum, which is a thing, carries them all the way to the Super Bowl. And I guess, for our 49er fan friends out there, sure, it could happen, right? I mean, this dream run is very reminiscent of the 07 Giants
but when
run.
you're saying momentum now, and I'm not dismissing it, right?
Mhm.
I'm just giving my side of why I don't buy it. Because, all right, granted, the Rams did lose to the 49ers. But
Twice.
but I'm talking about, first of all, they've lost 6 in a row. So Kyle Shanahan's never lost to McVay in a head coaching matchup.
call.
I'm pretty sure. So,
little tidbit there.
if it lands on red 6 times, I'm probably going to bet on black. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do in this one, but you get what I'm saying. You get where I'm going with it. It's tough to just own a team like that.
And if McVay is the
I
boy
just sunk
genius,
into my seat because we've lost 4 in a row to the 49ers. and Shanahan's 5-1 now in his career in the postseason. His only loss being a Super Bowl
against the
Chiefs, in which they had a lead
World
in the
beaters.
first half. So,
right.
Shanahan's definitely proven his worth in the postseason, and I think he's proven his worth as a head coach. I think that the Rams have closed the gap a little bit. We're in for a really good game in this one.
LA wants the title, according to Toasty. By his 5th season, Tommy Lasorda had already won a championship in his first 5 years. So had Mike Scioscia, Pat Riley, John McKay, John Robinson. So obviously they're saying that it's McVay's time to do it, to win a title. Look, for entertainment purposes, the Rams need to be in the Super Bowl for me to be entertained, is what I'm saying. Like for a high-flying, like let's play some real good football to watch.
I'm good with whatever.
Because I can't watch a running team go to the Super Bowl and just pound the rock. Like that's just, to me, it's football. Correct.
You weren't
I'm
entertained by the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Niners? I thought that was a great game.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are the most high-flying offense in the world. But I don't know if they played that same game, man. They had to make adjustments.
No,
and Debo is a lot better now than he was back then. If he was there.
I don't think he was on.
I don't even think he was on the team. You're right.
He might have been a rookie in that.
Might have been.
Yeah. No, he was on that team.
Okay, so in any event, it's going to be exciting, regardless. Everybody liked this video. She's very upset. Ashley's very upset. One of the first lady of Chop Sports will find you. And what's wrong?
She actually just got corrected. She only sees 5 likes. There's 18 people in here right now, and there's 17 likes. No, there's 18.
18, yeah. So
all right. So
thank
never mind me, but that's fine. Like Ashley, we appreciate the hustle.
Yeah, that's.
And I thought I saw her at the gym today. Did she go over here today?
Well, she's not in the area today.
Oh, all right. No, not just another one that wears Gymshark shit. So
Alpha
it looks just like
Alpha Elite. Come on, Dave. This is
Gymshark. What? Say what now?
Alpha
Elite. She changed?
I mean,
she changed her sponsor.
She'll still wear some Gymshark.
Sponsored by Gymshark. Oh, shout out to the dudes wearing Gymshark. Anyway,
that.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get out of here, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Scoop gave us content out the ass the other day, right? With his, what is your sports take that you agree with, that you're passionate with, that everybody thinks you're wrong, right? Great Facebook status. His cousin Vinny, literally the co-host of the Cross Court Cast, put up something the other day or yesterday on Chop Sports. Most catastrophic loss that you've experienced as a fan. And it's like, you think about it and you're like, do I really want to talk about this? Because it's just going to make me feel like shit, But these are moments in sports that you remember. Like these are the ones that stick with you for the rest of your life. Gooch, do you have one that sticks out?
I have several that stick out.
Look, you know what? Let's go. Let's see. You're not
going to go by sport.
I was just going to say, you're not really a basketball fan.
I only have 2 that.
So then it's Yankees and
really
Packers.
Care about it. Anything else? And then there's like some UFC fights that I've really been devastated by.
Really?
But, I mean, earlier, yeah.
Like Nate.
When
Nate
Nate
fight?
lost Ben Henderson, I was really bummed about that. I wanted him. That was his first crack at a title and his only crack at a title at that.
Tommy right away saying the Tuck rule. Yeah, no shit. And Dina very well
with the
agrees
Packers
that.
have been to so many NFC championships in my life, and they've even lost a Super Bowl in my life. So, I mean, you can't top that. But some of the losses that they've had big leads late in games against Seattle in the NFC Championship. Like just in terms of the magnitude of that loss, where we were like seconds away from being in the Super Bowl, and your boy Mike McCarthy botched everything,
of course,
down the stretch, and then Brandon Bostic missed the onside kick. Who, shout out to him. I mean, like he's managed to stay relevant in Green Bay for being probably the biggest what do you say when somebody fucks up? What are they called? Like
blunder?
The billy goat, the goat.
Scapegoat.
Scapegoat.
Well, scapegoat's kind of like the guy you blame.
Like that you blame. Like,
The
no, he
jackass.
should be blamed.
Now, Danny,
the guilty party.
Maybe I want to describe what we're talking about. Devastating loss as a fan.
Yeah.
So like you put Pac-Man getting knocked out by Marquez. I know that's not like you didn't sit there and sink into your chair and talk to Bobby and
unless
Sandy
unless there
Panos.
was some, unless you're like a crazy.
He is. They are crazy boxing fans, but I don't think that's
to be a
right.
Pacquiao fan.
Everybody
like
loves
you have to live
Pacquiao.
and die
He's
by
like the nicest guy
Pacquiao,
in the world.
right? So no, I mean Pacquiao. I think let's not get into what I think.
Scoop coming in. Jags AFC Championship game. Did you even say? Oh, you did say yours. Okay. AFC Championship game 2000.
Falcons obviously.
Yeah.
I
28-3
I
lead.
would say
Forget
in
it.
terms of baseball, there's been a few. The game 7 against the Diamondbacks.
Oh, don't get me started.
Brutal.
Toast put 2001 loss to the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, that's
what
what
you just said.
I literally just. That's
Dude.
the second time that you're reading and like they're simultaneously coming in.
I have one.
say the
I
same
am
thing.
like trying to.
No, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying it's
You
funny.
literally said it as I put it on the screen, so I was like, "Oh, there it is."
But anyway,
That's
I remember, like, another thing with these catastrophic, heartbreaking, gut wrenching losses, you know where you were, right? You know where you were when it happened.
Yeah.
I was in my bedroom watching it on a TV this big, the Arizona series, right? And my boy Kevin Smith is with me. We're watching this game, and he's actually a Braves fan, so he had no stake in the game, skin in the game. My dad is watching it downstairs in the living room. Now, why is this news? Why is this? Why does it matter, right? The TV downstairs was ahead of the TV in my room. I hear my dad yell, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "What does he mean? Oh no! Oh no!" It happened like bang, bang, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" That game, terrible Yankee loss. I mean, and it was on like the 9/11 year, so it's like the Yankees should have won that World Series. That was such a rough way to go. We had Mr. November and Derek Jeter.
Yes, Glow. We did talk about Eberflus earlier on the show.
Yes, we did talk about that. The index card scandal against the Cowboys. You're so full of shit. First of all, yeah, you weren't making the playoffs in that year, so that game didn't matter. But man, shout out to that moment. Was incredible. Wide right will never be topped.
So
according to Vinny.
Back to baseball though. There's obvious one. 2004, Yankees up 3-0 the collapse to the Red Sox. That's probably the worst one.
That's the worst series.
But like, yeah, that game 7 where it was like over immediately. Damon hit a grand slam in like the first inning. We were down 8-0 right away.
I know.
And it was like, fuck. That was terrible.
Gooch loves when the Yankees play.
Because at that point, that was when the curse was still alive. That was like, it changed everything.
It really did.
For Yankee fans.
Because then the Red Sox went on to win like everything. 3, right?
Yeah, they've since been a dynasty, and the Yankees have only won 1. So yeah, that was brutal. And then really the one that nobody's really talking about as Yankee fans, which surprised me. I didn't see this. Maybe it is in there, but I just missed it. But the 95 loss to the Mariners.
Griffey scored the winning run.
Don Mattingly's last. That was my first actual real taste of baseball playoff defeat. And
me
it
too.
Was tough, man. Like I remember being like, "Wow, this sucks. This really sucks."
The
Packers had lost in the playoffs a couple times, so like I was really not able to handle that. Yankees were like a slight second to me in terms of how I handled things. But
that game was rough. I remember
rough, man.
With that one, I was rest in peace to my boy John. I was at his house watching that game. He was a massive Seattle Mariners fan. So you can imagine where we were. I was 10, he was like 9, right? But like we're really into the game. When Griffey's rounding third and you just know that the season's about to end, you're just like, you just hold your breath for that moment. You're like, there we go. Like, and it's over. Just like that. Now I know people want to say that if for a Cowboys fan, you've had a bunch of devastating losses. Some people want to say the Romo botch snap, right? Which I thought I was going to take the plasma at the time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, those existed, and throw it through the window of my father's house. My boy Dom was over the house for that one. That's not even the worst one. And I bet you're thinking to yourself, well, that means he's got to go with the catch. No catch with Des Bryant, right? Worst loss ever. Rules are rules. I hate it. I think he still caught it. It doesn't matter what I think. The rule's the rule. And I believe I was imitating the actual play in my living room and everybody. That's what at 2014. That's when my family realized. And it was only 8 years ago.
If anybody has footage of Dave doing his best Des Bryant impression, I would love.
iPhones
Dave.
weren't prominent.
I don't think my brother Dave toe tapping. I don't think my brother
did it. It might have been one of the other game. But anyway, the worst loss that I've experienced as a Cowboys fan, I'm going with 2007 against the New York Giants. We were the 1 seed. We were hosting the divisional championship round. Tony Romo and Jason Witten decided to go to Cabo or wherever the hell they went, Mexico, Cancun, whatever, right? In that bye week, right? With their significant others, one of them being Jessica Simpson. I hate you forever for that. You're still gorgeous. I just hate you for that, right?
It's a real thing.
It's a real, what? What's a real thing?
I got my head up in a booty right now. Love the channel, pimps.
Okay, got my head up in a booty right now. How about them cowgirls?
Not even the weekend.
Come on.
Huh? Well, anyway, that's a great YouTube name. But anyway, I was at Fox and Hound, RIP Fox and Hound, right? And for whatever reason, my stepdad, my mom's husband, wanted to show up for that game. He's never come out ever for these games. He was there for that one. The management, everybody hated me that day because I was the most, I was in, you couldn't console me. When Romo threw that last pick to R.W. McQuarters, it was brutal. And I don't think I've ever experienced that gut-wrenching, like, did that just happen, right? And it's one of them. It's up there.
I think that you going through your list of things made me realize, like, how
insignificant yours are?
No. how many more brutal losses the Packers have had because of what happens when you make the playoffs 20 years out of 22 years. You have a brutal loss every year unless you win it. And
so that's what I'm saying. Mine are special. They stand out because we don't make the playoffs every year.
Yeah,
so when we do, we let you down.
People are like, oh, how you doing? It's like, well, I'm pretty numb at this point. I don't really know how to answer that. What bothers me more so than anything is me having, and this is it, the loss sucks, but it's really just trying to have to convince people that, like, all right, guys, like, it's not like Rodgers isn't done yet. He didn't, all the crazy speculation and the way the memes and social media is just brutal. And then when typically when I'm talking Rodgers, I'm always right. And I always have but here's the thing. It's like it's like I could always pull up stats and pull up this, and it's like everything is always proven right because I could always bring something up like, well, he's only thrown one pick this last 2 years or something crazy. And then it gets to the NFC Championship games or the playoff losses. And then that's the one point where I literally have nothing that I could say.
Oh, I like that. I like that, Vinny. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Lean Fridays. The most, I think we've actually brought this up because I know what Gooch's is. But yeah, we can talk about that. Post that shit in the group. Let me get some cool responses to talk about. My brother's admiring the name of I got my head up in a booty right now.
And it's a weekday. You need to settle down.
It's a Thursday, son.
It's like early. It's early in the morning on a weekday. We are not prepared.
What's for lunch? I don't know. I got my head up in a booty right now. So, hey, listen. It is what it is. But listen, it's been another episode, another good one. Listen, we talked a lot about the coaching stuff. Was it Dave? Imagine in a Super Bowl twice in the same game. I don't know what he's talking about.
Imagine it.
He's probably talking about the time that the Packers stole the Steelers' soul in the Super Bowl.
The most recent one in Dallas,
like Menden fumble, and it's like he's failing to realize that Clay Matthews had that play.
He had the belt
pegged. He knew it was going down. If you watch the Packers NFL yearbook for that season, there's a lot going into bad coaching on your part, I guess, Steelers, because the Packers knew the play was coming. He said it. He shifted Raji over and he shot the gap that the ball was going to.
Let's talk about Neil O'Donnell. You mean the Cowboys first string quarterback that day?
I felt like I declared like a friendly, kind of like a friendly fire war with Ken Palman today because of his Aaron Rodgers comment yesterday.
Yes, they've been fired all over the place. But listen, it comes with the territory of watching us each and every day, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. The head up in the booty right now, guy. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the network. We appreciate you watching. And everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. Please like the video, subscribe to the network on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check back chopsportsmedia.com for the entire podcast network. We got something for everybody, ladies and gentlemen. We got something for everybody. So be sure to do that. And that's it. Lean Friday tomorrow. We'll make some NFL picks. We'll get into it. Kyle Kerm's back in the house. The sauce is back. Okay. I was what? Oh, you're telling her not to hit the red button because it's a cue not to hit the red button early. Don't hit the red button. Oh, she almost hit it like the aggro crack.
What was the part of my joke that got cut off yesterday?
The part of your joke that got cut off yesterday was...
What was even my joke yesterday?
Damn, it was good, though. It was good. And I said, oh, they cut it.
I left it on YouTube, but I cut it off the recording.
It's definitely on YouTube. So I'm going to have to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So, in any event.
It's not that important.
For Sturch and Gooch, and of course, the intern Anthony in the house, and of course, the pick fish. Fully vaccinated and boosted and all that good shit so she can go to New York to watch the Knicks get trounced in a couple of weeks. Are we going to that? Are we trying to go to that?
What?
Yes, you guys are
We were supposed to go for her birthday weekend.
What day does it fall on?
I think it's February, at the end of February.
Friday. It's like the 25th or the 27th, something like that.
It's a coin flip.
It's always a coin flip with this guy. You never compare.
Tails never fails unless you're
My oldest
Josh
grandson.
Allen.
He doesn't think things through.
Burn.
What?
Tails never fails unless you're Josh Allen.
That's
Too
how we're
soon,
gonna
bro.
leave it.
Too
Oh,
soon.
right to Vinny. That was just a.
Sorry, man. I feel your pain. We both lost this week, and it doesn't matter how. We lost on a blocked punt, and Aaron Rodgers.
Imagine having hope as a fan, 'cause I don't have that.
5 consecutive.
My
three,
soul's been sucked.
5 consecutive 3-and-outs and a punt block touchdown did us in. So
It's never-
I
A
think
pump block touchdown that nobody knew where the ball was.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Whoa! Get out of here. Let's get out of here. See you guys tomorrow.
yeah. Does anybody remember?